Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Let me get a little volume going here. Uh-oh, mistake. Okay, let me just tune up. Okay, good morning. Thank God for Facebook. That allows me the communication platform to be able to discuss, share information, tips, and what have you with you. But sometimes Facebook does too much. As soon as you get on, it tells you that they cutting you off or that they're shutting down your page. At least that's been my experience. But anywho, happy Monday. And here we are this morning. And I'm glad to have you here. Who am I? Good morning, good morning, good morning again. Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette, where we offer a solution to your etiquette dilemmas. And guess where I'm broadcasting from? The great windy city of Chicago. Chi-Town is what we like to call it. We are the best in the Midwest, and I'm grateful to have you be a part of our platform on this morning. Happy Monday. You made it through the weekend, and we are back here starting another work week, school week, or whatever your situation is. Listen, I want to start off this morning first by saying thank you, 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 thank you to everyone that saw my spotlight video that was sponsored by the Bridgeport Art Center. Bridgeport Art Center is where the Etiquette Studio is located. It is where we are housed on the south, just about west side, but on the south side of Chicago in the community of Bridgeport. I want to thank so many of you that shared, that liked, that commented, that posted it. Good morning, good morning. Posted it on your social media platforms. I appreciate your love and your support. Everyone that offered encouraging words and congratulations. It was all very well received, and I am honored. I am truly, truly honored to have your love and support. And for those of you that have just been with me from the very beginning of this journey, it has been 1 year that I've been located in a brick and mortar, having my etiquette studio in the Bridgeport Art Center. It has been 1 year this month in October. And hey, I've survived in spite of everything that has gone on, in spite of COVID, in spite of cutbacks and all of that. We have survived and we are still standing. We're standing strong and we are growing and improving in many different ways. So I appreciate your love and support. And I just also want to publicly say to the Bridgeport Art Center, for those that made sure that this happened, I appreciate you so very much. The spotlight video was wonderful. And I just appreciate the opportunity for the growth and the expansion that it offers. And I'm really grateful. I'm really, really grateful. So, the feature happened because I am a tenant there and they do spotlight other tenants. So if you'd like to subscribe to see other videos and to see other works of other tenants and artists that are there in the Bridgeport Art Center, please subscribe to their YouTube channel. Bridgeport Art Center is the name of it, and you just go there and subscribe to them on YouTube, and you will be able to see the video spotlights of other artists that are there in the building. They do fabulous work. The different artists of all different types. And other people that are there as well. That Fashion Design Center on the 5th floor is absolutely awesome. All of the fashion designers that are up there creating beautiful beautiful garments. They do wonderful, absolutely beautiful work up there. So go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to their channel. And also, I'd like to extend an invitation every month, every third Friday of the month. The Bridgeport Art Center hosts what we call open studios. Open studios is where you come to the Bridgeport Art Center and you get to enter in free of charge. There's no cost. You get to enter in and you get to see the various studios of the tenants that reside there, that live there, that rent there, and the work that they do. As I said, it is where we are, and I'm there on the very first floor. Good morning, Demetrius. Thank you. I'm there on the very first floor, and you can come in and view my studio. I change it up every month, so the shot that you saw on this month and these past couple of weeks, the shot that you saw then would be different when you come on next month or any other time that you come. So it's every third Friday, putting in a plug for them because they've just been good to me. But come out any third Friday on the south side of Chicago. It's 1200 West 35th Street, 35th and Racine. We usually get started between the hours of 6 and 7 o'clock. And again, you get to come in and go from the first floor all the way up to 5 to view the various artists that are there. It is a wonderful experience. It is free of charge, and it's a great experience. So come on by sometime. So thank you so much for that. But I want to segue from that into just talking about how we show up in the lives of other people and how you might impact that person's life by the way that you show up. And proof of that has been how you all have shown up again in the past couple of weeks in my life, and your love and support, and not just in these past couple of weeks, but other people that have shown up in my lives in various ways. Whether you are a teacher, whether you are a mentor, whether you are a friend, whether you are a confidant, the way you show up in a person's life has an impact upon that person. And of course, when you're showing up and you want to be supportive, you want to show up in a way that's going to increase them, enlarge them somehow, encourage them somehow. If you're mentoring them, then that, of course, just means that you are taking them under your wing and showing them the ropes, perhaps in an area that they might be unfamiliar with. You might be taking them under your wing to encourage them because of something that they're going through. You might be taking them under your wing to nurse them, to educate them, to inform them, to empower them. However it is that you show up in that person's life has an impact upon that person. And of course, we want the impact to be positive. And it might not be your intent when you initially show up in their lives. You might be just doing as you feel led to do, or it might just be your natural inclination. Again, if you are a teacher, if you're a mentor, if you're a coach of some type, oftentimes your purpose is to inform and to educate, to enlighten and to empower. And when you do that in a person's life, it has a lasting effect. It can have a lasting effect upon them. I remember people that have shown up in my life from years back, and I sometimes still think about the words that they've said, the seeds that they deposited in my spirit that has helped me to grow to where I am today. Sometimes your encounter can be with a total stranger. A total stranger can show up in your life for a few seconds, for a few moments, and say something that could impact you for the rest of your life. I will never forget. Oh my gosh, this was more than over 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I was coming home, I think from a doctor's appointment or something, and I was on the bus stop, standing there just minding my business, waiting for the bus, and this gentleman walked past. He wasn't going to the bus stop. Well, no, he wasn't going to the bus stop because he didn't stand there and wait, but he walked past. He came across me. I'm standing across the street, and he came across the street at an angle. And I believe, if I remember correctly, there was another gentleman with him. And it was broad daylight, and he spoke to me, good morning, young lady. And out of courtesy, I said good morning. He didn't seem scary or anything like that. He didn't seem to have an agenda. And as he said good morning, he paused. When I responded, he paused, and he kept walking. He was continuing his walk, but he paused in that moment when I responded. And he turned around and he looked at me, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You are a beautiful person, and you have a mission in life." He said, "You have something special to do in life. You're special, and you're going to do it." And he continued on his way. Now, this was a total stranger that didn't know me, but saw me standing there. But obviously, he had a message for me. And he delivered that message in a few seconds and kept going. That impacted me. And as I said, over 30 years later, I still remember that. I still remember how clean cut he was, how much of a gentleman he seemed to be, and he didn't have an agenda to talk to me, to get my number, to want to get to know me better. It wasn't any of that. He was focused really on where he was going and whatever he was going to accomplish that morning. Because, I mean, you could just see by his gait and by he was going, like he was busy, he was going somewhere. But something spoke to him and said, speak to her and tell her this. And I still remember that to this day. And honestly, sometimes, good morning, Rita. Bless you, my sister. Sometimes God speaks to you through total absolute strangers, because you know then that it's genuine, because that person doesn't know you. They don't know anything about you. I never saw that man again. And I've been on that bus stop, in that day, I've been on that bus stop time and time again. Never saw that gentleman again. But he deposited a seed in me that I still remember to this day. And honestly, sometimes when I'm feeling like, ugh, I can't do it. When I'm feeling like, oh, this is just too hard. When I'm feeling low, and we all have moments and we all have days like that, but sometimes when I'm feeling that way, you're just feeling a little dejected and rejected and, it's just not worth it and who cares anyway, I remember the words that he said. Sometimes when I'm going about trying to do the thing that I know that God has called me to do, and I hit the wall, I hit a bump in the road, or again, because you're just feeling discouraged, whatever it is, I remember those words, and it encourages me. It's a pick-me-up, and it says to me, Victoria, get up and do it, because you have been called for a special purpose, and you're going to do it. He said you're special, and you're loved by God. The words of a total stranger impacted me to the point to where I go back and pull from it today, again, over 30 years ago, that this happened. So how you show up in a person's life impacts their life. It's meant to strengthen, it's meant to encourage, it's meant to uplift them. And so as a person that you are called to be in the life of another person, be that to your fullest. Now, sometimes as encouragers, as mentors, as coaches, as intercessors, as teachers, as instructors, just as people, we all have days when we just feel like I'm staying in the bed, the covers are over my head, and I'm not coming out. We all have days when we feel like that. But what if you were to show up that way to the person that you are the influencer in their lives? Is it good or is it bad? Is it good to show up on a bad day to the person that you are strengthening, encouraging, empowering? Is it bad to show your weak side? Is it bad to show that you're vulnerable? You know what I say? I say no, it's not a bad thing. You know why? Because we are multifaceted people. And we're not on 10 every single day. We have a great example of that. If you're a Christian believer, or even if you're not, you've heard the story. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, left glory, came here to earth, wrapped up in the flesh of man, wrapped up in the very flesh that he says stinks in his nostrils. Sin and our fleshly ways stinks in his nostrils. But he showed up that way. Why? For us. Because he wanted us to be able to see him. Now, of course, say, well, this is all over 2,000 years ago, blah, blah, blah. He walked with the disciples and all of that. But He showed up for us, for mankind. He should be the greatest influence in our lives. He should be the greatest voice in our lives. He should be the greatest example in our lives. Is that, well, he's not physically in this earth realm today, but yes, he is, because he is physically present in each and every one of us as believers. His spirit lives and dwells in us, and we are the example that the world sees as Christ. We're that Christ-like example to them. But even Jesus Christ, at the end of his journey, when he was going to the cross, before he went to pray. And he asked those that he had the greatest influence upon at that time to come and to pray with him in the last hour, because he knew what was coming after that. He knew the soldiers were coming. He knew that Judas had already gone to the courts. He knew that Judas had already betrayed him. As a matter of fact, he sent him off at the Last Supper and told him, that you do, go and do quickly. Do quickly. Because his time had come. So he knew what was coming. But it didn't stop him from showing up. It didn't stop him from showing up for you, for me, for our children, for our loved ones, for our families, for our neighbors, for our co-workers, for our friends, and for our foes. He showed up. But in the garden, when he asked the disciples, can you come and pray with me? And so sometimes as influencers, sometimes as leaders, as teachers, as coaches, as whatever it is that we are as intercessors, oftentimes we have a team. We have others that we work with. But how many of you know that just because you're with that person today doesn't mean that you'll be with them on tomorrow? They're with you today, but they might not be with you tomorrow. Maybe they don't have the strength to go to the bitter end. Maybe they don't have the strength to go the last mile. Some people in your life are only there for a season. And when that season is over, they transition out. But you transition up. That person transitions out, but you transition up. Because guess what? When they transition out and you transition up, you're at another level. So that person brought you as far as they could. They could only bring you here. And so when they bring you here and you go here, then there's another person that's going to step in, and because you're no longer here. So because you're here, you have to have another person up here to meet you where you are. No matter what level you're on, God is there at every level. He shows up for us all the time, in the good, in the bad, and in the ugly. So when you are an influencer in another person's life and you show up for them in your brokenness, it shows them that you are vulnerable too. I don't want to run out of my time here. It shows them that you are vulnerable too. And while you are encouraging them, sometimes we need encouraging too. You have to know the strength of your tribe. Can they handle it? Can they handle seeing you at a broken point? Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't. You, as the leader, need to know that. So sometimes it might not always be wise to show up in your brokenness to those that you are influencing. They may surmise that you have moments and days like that, but maybe it's not always good for them to see it. When Christ showed up in the garden and he prayed so hard He asked his disciples to come along, and they did, but they fell asleep. Could they see Christ in his brokenness? Was it something that needed to be hidden from them? They fell asleep, and he rebuked them and said, "Can't you pray for me just 1 hour? Can you pour into me for just 1 hour? Can you come alongside me for just 1 hour, just one moment after 33 and a half years? Can you bear this cup with me?" It wasn't for them to do. They couldn't do it. But it didn't stop him from showing up. He still went into the garden. He still prayed. He didn't give up. And he said to the Father, "If it be possible, let this cup pass from me. If it be possible, let this cup pass from me." If, conditional. If, conditional. If it's possible, if it's prudent, if it's wise, if it's meant to be, let this cup pass from me. I think it's a comma right there. And he stopped and said, "But nevertheless, thy will be done." I'm going. I'm coming for the souls of mankind. Not just for today, not just on that day, but he came for all the souls of mankind. From Adam up until then, and from then until eternity. He showed up for us. And he still shows up for us every single day. The blood he shed 2,000 years ago, over 2,000 years ago, he shed it for you, he shed it for me. Again, he shed it for our children and our grandchildren, the third generation of our families, the fourth generation of our families that will be here long after we're gone. Our greats and our greats and our greats and our greats and our greats, our great, 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 great grandchildren, nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles. He showed up. I am grateful for your love and support. But I'm grateful beyond words for the love and the support of Jesus Christ. I am grateful that he loved me so much that he would show up dressed in flesh, walking away from his heavenly kingdom, residing here in the earth realm for 33 and a half years, because Victoria would need to be reconnected to him one day. Because Rita would, because Demetris would, because all of you would, because of David and Tabitha and Rachel and John and Josiah and Jonah and Elijah. Those are my children and my grandchildren. And Kylie and Taylor and Judah and all the others that are coming. Because of my mom, Catherine, because of my dad, Charlie, because of my grandparents, Lillian and Leanna, because of my siblings, all 8 of them. He showed up for us and for you. For all of my viewers, he showed up for you. Nothing stopped him. Nothing got in his way. Not the Pharisees, not the Sadducees, not the moms of people, not the imposters, not Judas. Nobody. Nothing stopped him from showing up. Not sickness, not illness, not even death could stop him. Not even death could stop him. And he didn't allow it. Oh, gosh. I'm so grateful that you show up for me in love and support. I'm so grateful that you watch my videos, that you come on, that you join in the conversation, that you share it across your social media platforms, that you speak of me, perhaps that you remember something that I said on a post. That when you're out dining, perhaps you remember what I said about cutlery, which one to use first, which wine glass to use first. Why is there a spoon and a fork above my plate? That's your dessert utensils. Perhaps you remember those things, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. But the gratitude I had for my Lord and Savior that showed up for me, and he showed us by showing up, he showed us how to live and how to be restored. But even on the cross, he showed us how to show up for the person that seemingly least deserves it. Because he showed up for the thief on the cross that was next to him, one on either side. And I'm paraphrasing. He said, "Might this be the Christ? Are you him?" Yes. This doesn't deserve to happen to you because you're the real deal. But I'm an authentic thief and I deserve what's happening to me. I deserve death. But because he believed, he was restored. Good morning, Mary. He was restored because he believed. And what did Christ say to him? Today you will be with me in paradise. Today. Right now. So when he shows up for us, he's available to us right then. Not later. He doesn't show up late. He doesn't show up tardy. He doesn't show up not ready. He doesn't show up incomplete. He shows up in the whole of what we need him for in that instance. Woo! How do you show up in the lives of other people that you're responsible for, that have been assigned to you? Do you show up whole and complete? Do you show up ready? Do you show up on even your terrible days? On the days when you are crying so hard until you feel like Christ in the garden. He wept and prayed so hard until he burst the blood vessels in his head. And he shed not just tears, but blood even then, before he went to the cross. So will you show up for the person that seems to need you the least, that seems the least deserving for you to show up in their life? The impact you have on them will be unforgettable. Show up ready. Show up complete. Show up whole. Show up prepared. And show up because you're supposed to. Show up. This is Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette. So happy to have you be a part of our broadcast and our platform on this morning. Please like and share across your social media platforms. Thank you for joining me live. Those of you that might be just coming on, please be kind and rewind and catch the replay. And for those of you that will watch later, thank you for taking time out of your day to do so. For my YouTube subscribers, this video will be available to you later on today. And if you've not joined or subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go on over there by the same name, Victoria School of Etiquette. Hit the subscribe button so you have access to all of our video material at your convenience. 2 a.m. in the morning, when you have time and you want to watch, you can over there. I love you all. Have a great start to your work week. Until the next time, we will chat again. But in the meantime, bye for now. God bless you.